And don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Kicking It Back with Matt. Tonight, we're kicking it with my buddy Henry, multiple-time guest, great guest, a lot of knowledge, in depth. Appreciate you, Henry. How are you?
Definitely good, brother. Good. Enjoying the footy. How about you?
Trying to. As I was telling you off air, my daughter's college lacrosse team made the NCAA tournament. As a freshman for her, what an experience. As a parent, what an experience. So I've been knee deep in that. For anybody that doesn't know, Memorial Day weekend is the biggest weekend for college lacrosse. It's the Final Four for men's, women's, D1, D2, D3. Crazy weekend. Trying to get back into it, but dude, how are you feeling after Sunday? I mean, I know we clinched weeks ago, but how are you feeling now that the season is over? There's another trophy in the cupboard.
Well, I'm feeling relieved. Like, finally, I watched a parade on Sunday. That was awesome. That was really good to hear. Sad by the ending of it, though. Like, I hope everybody was okay after what happened there.
79 people.
Yeah. I hope everybody recovers well. At least it was nothing fatal. So, but other than that, it was nice to celebrate there. It's nice to talk smack to a lot of people who said that we were gonna not even make top 4. So it was really nice to, get back at that, reflect back on group text messages and, having the receipts. Other than that, it's been really good. And also so far, I mean, probably you're excited about it too, or maybe like you're just going to dive into it soon yourself, is all the transfer news already after the league just ended for us too. So it looks like we just want to keep this rolling.
Well, I feel like, because I wanted to get into this, I talked to my guy last week, my lifelong friend Ish. I had him on, and we talked about the Club World Cup. And it seems like, I know some of these bigger leagues have opened up the transfer window for the first 2 weeks of June just to get some business done before this thing. Then it's going to close during it and open back up. So I'm curious to see what some of it's going to happen. I know the city chief came out and said he wants all his business done by the close of this initial first window before the Club World Cup. I don't know how much I believe him, but it looks like Liverpool's got 2 in the hole already. Have you seen? I saw that Frimpong has had his supposedly has had his medical cleared, but I haven't heard anything after that. Have you?
Mm-hmm. So far, medical. Wirtz's, I believe, a private jet came in for him. Landed in England, I believe. We saw that. We also saw, as far as I know, the news might be also for a third player already. I forgot that player's name already because it's actually first thing I saw was this morning about him. I believe he's a Leverkusen player too, I believe. It's another Bundesliga player. So far, that's been it, other than, of course, like the rumor mill like crazy. Other than that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on getting a text right now about some hot transfer news, but I think Frimpong is good business. 30 million is what I'm reading, to provide competition for
Yeah,
Bradley at the right
and
back.
he wanted to.
Yeah. Do you think Wirtz is worth what the
I think
release
it's
clause
also
is?
I think it's also good for us for the games. Yeah, I believe Wirtz is going to be very, very essential for us, for sure. I believe Wirtz is going to be our formations, especially those like Slot loves to do substitutes, so he's going, probably Mr. Super Sub, maybe in the beginning, or just change the whole dynamic of the game.
But are you okay paying that freight for him? It's north of 100 million.
I'm going to say yes. If we're ever going to take a risk on a player, I'm going to say yes. We dodge Casado. We dodge Lavia, even though now they look great. Yeah, it's all about that, and I love it. I think it's perfect. 100 mil and maybe plus and bonuses. Yeah, let's do it. Like, get it done now.
Okay, so let me ask you these follow-up questions. Rumors, gap code of Byron. You willing to do it?
No, not while we are on a hot streak with them.
Rumor, your guy Diaz to Barcelona. You doing it?
Can't afford him. They can't afford him.
Barcelona can or Liverpool can?
Barcelona can't. Like, they just can't afford him. They're just too broke right now. I think they're going to worry too much about their own contracts at the moment with their own players.
Rumor, Darwin to Saudi Arabia. Before you go, he's 25 years old. You think he wants to go to Saudi? Like, what player wants to go to Saudi when they're 25 years old? Go to Italy, go to France, go anywhere but Saudi Arabia. But you think it's
I
time
actually
for the club to
don't
move
want
on?
him to go there. I want him to. Yeah, but I don't want him to go there. I want him to go to a place that will actually help his career, and that's, I believe, Atletico Madrid.
And I'm reading 70 million is what it's going to take for Liverpool to sell him.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
But
I'm also okay with if it's another club that's actually going to help him. Let's do it.
So you think it's time?
Yeah, it's definitely time. It's definitely time.
How about Elliot? I don't think they want him to go. I think he's going to want to go.
Yeah, I think so too. I believe he's going to want to go.
But do you do everything you can to hold on to him?
No, I believe he can find another club, and we can use that money for different transfers in the future, or even this transfer season.
See, I have a very high upside for him. I really like him. I think he's gritty. I think he's tough. I like how he always wants to get in and win the tackle. There's just something about him that I really like, and I think that there's a lot more to come. What I would really try to do is offload Nunez, right? If you can sell him on for 70 mil. We're getting rid of Trent's wages. Real is talking about picking up his June salary I mean, it's $1 million, but $1 million is $1 million to have Liverpool release him from his contract before June 30th. I don't know. I think there's other ways that we can raise money. And let's be fair. What has Liverpool really spent in the last 3 transfer windows? Not much.
Not much, not much, other than Chiesa. I hope he stays. It's like the Harvey thing. I'm willing to let him go because he needs to play, and I think with Wirtz coming, he's not going to play. He's just not. It's going to be too much of a fight in the midfield. And if you ask yourself a question, would you rather get rid of Jones or Harvey Elliott? I think we both know the answer to that one.
That's fair, and I'm not even taking into account to where it's coming in yet. But you're right. Like he comes in, how is Elliott getting on the pitch in that midfield?
You're fighting over Sobertslai. You're fighting over McAllister. You're fighting over Jones. It's too rough. It's too
Yeah.
much. I want to keep you so bad, so bad, but I think we can make money off you, and I think you're also at the prime age for any club to really succeed with you. And honestly, everybody thinks like Brighton. No, send him to La Liga, and that kid's gonna thrive. He's gonna kill it over there.
Oh yeah, he in any league outside of the Premier League, he'll do. Even if he goes like to the Bundesliga.
If he goes to Bundesliga, we are only going to see him get any better. Look at every time they take a player there, and then they turn him into a machine. It's crazy what they do over there in the Bundesliga. Look at Leroy Sané, skinny at City, and he got jacked at Bayern.
Yeah. It's crazy. I just saw before we came on, Chelsea beat Man United to the signing of the striker from Ipswich.
Love it.
I'm still really curious to see if Newcastle can hold on to Isaac. I think if they put pen to paper on a new contract,
believe the Champions League.
Yeah, they just got that windfall. They're going to offer him a new contract. He's a guy that I think could come in and really help that front line for us. Right? Because don't you still feel like outside of Mo, goals were still hard to come by? Really too dependent and leaning on him. And he's not going to have the year next year that he had this year. Let's be honest. He had a career year. Tied the Premier League record for most goals and assist contributions in a season. He's not doing that next year. I pray that he does it, right?
No.
But I just it's too hard to accomplish that feat multiple times. So real quick, I got to ask you this because you mentioned it a month ago when you were on here, and
I think
and Alonso, new gaffer for Real. What do you think?
You know what? I don't know. I really don't know. Right now with them, I'm up in the air with that one. They have a lot that they have to do over there. I think he's got a project. Good luck. Just good luck. That's all I can really wish for, like, everybody, Alonso, Trent, all of them, good luck. I think it's going to be a nice project for them, and I just don't see it being as smooth or as amazing as a lot of Real Madrid fans are making it up to be. Like, they think it's going to be huge, and I just don't see it at the very moment. Maybe towards the middle of the season and closer towards the end when they finally get things. But I don't think it's going to be one of those, right off the bat, dangerous team just because you have that manager and these specific players just yet. They said the same thing about that with Mbappe playing on that left-hand side, and we saw it. Yeah, he's been scoring goals, but they're not winning games.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of bumps in the road. I think he's going to be overwhelmed at first. I think they'll give him a chance because he is a Galactico, played there, had success there, won cups, trophies there. But they got a lot of work to do. And, we all saw it this year, right, with Ancelotti. Like, you go 1 year without a trophy, your name's up on that list to get the boot out the door.
Oh yeah, tabloids, late night televisions, everything. They are so mean. They can be so mean. Um, and I'm being light with that. They'll have you on the chopping block. They're gonna ask questions every single moment that they can, and also at the same time, the players that were brought in, were they good enough for Real Madrid? That's that question they have every season. Were their players good enough to play for them?
Yeah, and 2 years in a row, you lose Cruz in your central midfield, right, in your engine machine, and then you just lost Modric. Now, granted, Modric's 39 years old; he's not once the player he was, but you're losing some of these big names, and it's like, all right, who are you going to replace him with? Because Barcelona's got all the young Spanish studs that run the midfield. So yeah, you can bring in Trent, but is Trent fixing those problems that you've got in the engine room? So I think it's a bigger task than what people think. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I think Alonso is going to have a great career as a manager. I don't know if you wanted to leave the comfort of Leverkusen to go to Real at this point in your coaching career. It's kind of like what Stevie G did, right?
Way too early. Way too early. I
Yeah.
mean, he had probably another 2 more years there. Maybe go to, let's just say, a Portuguese league, or maybe lower league in maybe even the Swiss league and stuff like that, where you can have a little bit more free time and maybe patience with the club. Premier League, there's no patience. It doesn't matter how small you are of a club. There's no patience, other than Arsenal right now. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Well, you saw what Thierry Henry said about, you know, that he hasn't done enough, that they're
That
underachieving.
very much so. Very much so. I mean, again, it's the question I've been throwing off to all of them. Do you rate your your season successful? And a lot of them say yes, but unfortunately, I thought silverware means successful. Maybe you've done better, you've improved. You can say that. You can even say that about them. You improved. You did well. You showed up some great youngsters that are coming up. But Chelsea got silverware. Spurs got silverware. Crystal Palace got silverware. Liverpool got silverware. Newcastle got silverware. You didn't even get a plate this year, so I don't know what to tell you.
Hey, second place is the first loser.
Yeah, so I'm
And
having a hard time seeing how that's called a success. Sorry about that. There's a truck driving by. Calling that success. So I don't know. Us Liverpool fans, we finally got it, and we're rejoicing in it, and we're going to keep on going with it. As you can see, with like we said, we're already in the transfer market. We're already hunting down other players. We are talking to other players that made pre-commitments to other clubs. We don't care. We are now going for everything, and I'm happy that they're showing a little bit of teeth this transfer season, rather than, as you said before, been a quiet 2 or 3 transfer seasons, really.
yeah, and not only do they have to worry about competition for the right back, and I hate to say it because he's one of my favorites, but Robo's time is up. at the left back. Simicast isn't going to cut it. They gotta bring in quality there. And you want to know what's crazy? What I was reading the other day, Henry, and I never even really thought about it until I read it. Do you know that Trent and Robertson are the two most um, I want to say like point earners at their positions in the Premier League. Like nobody has ever put up as many points as Robo from the left back, and nobody has put up as many points from Trent from the right. So we've had like the two like greatest from that perspective, not necessarily defending, but attacking from those positions in Premier League history. And I
Oh
never
yeah,
even really thought
yeah,
about
our
that.
wingback style.
Yeah, and we
Hmm.
got to replace both.
Yeah. Um, and that's why I think Frimpong is going to be great because again, we can change our style of play when it needs to. Because we got to admit, when Trent was trying to do two jobs at once and he couldn't focus, those games could be really bad. Really great on goals, and also goals against us as well. Rabo, I feel we keep him for an extra year. Let's have him as our 30, 40-minute type of guy. Or honestly, to be really, really deep with you on this, for the guy who has experience against almost every single Premier League club. And you can't buy that. So I would love to keep him for that, even if it is for like 40 minutes.
So is that 40 minutes coming at the beginning or at the end?
Definitely at the
Because for
end.
me, I really see because I don't think at this point I can trust him coming in at the end.
I think at the end would be okay. In the beginning, fine. That can be great too. I mean, he can tire them out because at least he still has a burst of energy. Um, and then the rest can be done by somebody who's just going to solidly just hold on to that position and do their job. Rabo's just lost like a foot or two.
And the good thing with Frimpong is he can play both sides.
Yeah. Kirkes, I believe, can be solid in that position as well. Defensively too. And also he doesn't have that bad of a foot, as we've seen. He's also gotten some goals.
Yeah. Um, so I was reading about this. I wanted to get your perspective, your take on it, because just knowing, how I feel about the guy and what he cares about. A lot of rumors about Ronaldo trying to get into this Club World Cup. His contract is up at the end of June with Al Nassr, and rumors are that he's trying to get out of it in the next 2 weeks because he wants to sign with a club that's going to partake in this competition.
Yeah, I heard that
And I
too.
just think,
And I think he
and
will
I just,
do it.
yeah, I just think it's typical. Ronaldo wants to be in the limelight, has to be in front of everybody, and it's all about him. And I'm curious because the rumor
I
that's going around is it's a Brazilian team.
Yeah, he can do that. As far as I know, he can. I don't blame him though. I mean, he is literally seeing the last end of his probably his football career. And I think like anybody else, you just don't want to accept that just yet. And it's not like he's playing bad either. Like I can talk about it. Like, please, that dude is still dribble circles around me right now. But I think for him, he's not done yet. And I don't blame him from trying. And if another club wants to, why not? I mean, the revenue you'll get from this guy just for playing in your stadium alone, you can't beat it.
Well, there's no way he's not going to be on the national team next year for the World Cup, right?
No,
Yeah,
no.
he's definitely going to
I'm
be
sorry.
there.
He's still in his weird prime. Yeah, and there's no way. I just don't see him as much as playing every single game. I did like was seeing him during the year. Arrows kind of be on the sideline, like with the coach, and I feel like it actually.
Yeah, like, and I had this conversation last week too with my guest, but these athletes today, they're different, right? So I don't care like if he's 39, he's 40. That's the one thing I'll commend him on is the amount of work he puts into his conditioning, taking care of his body. He's like LeBron, right? He's spending like over $1 million a year to be in the best shape that he can. I don't I don't question that. I don't question him wanting to play, but I go back to the last World Cup and it really turned me off with his behavior in that World Cup, and it was more the me instead of the we. And I can't get around that, and just there's other things about him, whatever. But I mean, it would be great for the Club World Cup for him to get in it and to be in it because you'd have him, you'd have Messi, you'd have Mbappe, right? So you got three all-time names right there to help it. I'm I don't know about you, and I wanted to talk about it. I'm not feeling this thing.
If you could get Miami FC inside this thing, you better get Ronaldo in it. That's all I gotta say. Like that's just sorry. That's just the truth. Yeah, you don't break the rules or bend the rules for one club, and you can't bend the rules for somebody else a little bit. Yeah, we all hate it when that happens, but it's football. Uh, the one thing we all know is the dirty truth. It's a business, and it sucks. But they know having him in there and the stars that he,
So are you into this? Like, you have any like juice for this tournament that's coming up?
I'm going to one of the games, so I'm curious. I'm
Oh,
going to, I
which
believe,
game
the
are you going to?
Fluminense versus Dortmund. Fluminense versus
Okay.
Dortmund. Which again, I've only seen Dortmund once, and I've never seen Fluminense. And as far as I know, what I've been told is be prepared because those fan bases are a little crazy here. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, the Dortmund fan base is crazy. I got I have a good
Yeah, I
I
heard that too.
I have a good friend that's a huge Dortmund fan, and he's nuts.
Yeah, I've seen it
Absolute,
from my Bayern friend. That can get crazy.
yeah. Like no matter what you say about that club, it's like they can't do no wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh,
oh, hey, like my buddy Damon. I'm like, Damon, like your club finished fifth this year. No, they didn't. Like it, they can't believe the reality. It's like, no, they just missed out on first place on goal differential. Like it's just insane arguments by him. But yeah, I'm not juiced. I don't know. Like I don't like it. Like I feel like they really expanded it this year just to get the dry run for the World Cup next year. It's just too many teams. It's like, why do I want to see these Saudi Arabian teams, Australia, New Zealand, uh, when they don't really have a chance? Uh, You dumped out there for a minute. You there? Henry, you there? All right, folks, we're having technical issues at the moment. Hold on. Henry, you there?
there we go.
Okay.
My apologies.
Yeah. So what I was saying is like I think they expanded it kind of just to like make a dry run for the World Cup next year here in the States and getting all the logistics and everything down. But I don't know. I'm not really into it.
I
And I got to
think
tell
you
you,
are right on that.
and as a Liverpool fan, I'm so glad they're not in it.
No, I feel like a quick money grab for sure, a testing from them that make your tickets affordable. Please learn from this. I know you have the World Cup literally being sold this September, but please learn from this. Like, just know that we're not made out of money. This is a game for the people. Um, and really consider that a lot of us want to enjoy this, and especially I see like a lot of parents are excited, and but they're not excited about how much the World Cup might cost. But Club World Cup, a lot of them are because they're not too bad at pricing for some games. Um, make sure you make it engaging for us too, like maybe activities outside. I've been to some events where there's not a lot of things outside the stadium for it. I hope they start doing that a little bit more to get more kids into this. This is the one thing I'm really hoping for, and it seems like I'm like really pushing for a lot of the stuff. But you got a lot of kids that are going to tournaments this summer from all kinds of things, from the Premier League to FIFA Club World Cup. Please get kids engaged to this while we have this chance, because I just don't think next year for the World Cup we're going to be. I think it's just not going to be affordable.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because, like, think about it. We're lucky enough we get the Club World Cup now, and next year we get the World Cup. Like, what better opportunity does the United States have to really embellish the game, show off the game, promote the game, and encourage young kids to want to participate in the game?
Yeah, this could be a generation where we really could have a whole bunch of another of USMT and US women's national team players too. I mean, like these kids watch it on TV, or it's a father that's into it, or a mother, and they just like they want to bring their kid to see if they can. This is the best time to do it, especially kids who know these names as well. We know they don't start either, some of the big names when they come to these things. So can't wait till like, the 60th minute or the 50th minute. There he is, and the kids, you can hear the kids scream and lose their mind. Please just take advantage of this summer and really start doing this, because it's not only for them, but also for us as fans to keep us coming to these things all the time. Because I mean, I'm not gonna lie about you, Matt, but when I gone to a lot of these games, I do drop money, and I'm willing to keep on doing that. But learn from this FIFA Club World Cup that if you price us out, it's going to be hard for you to have us keep on engaging with this sport. And you'll have like just people who will just plainly just rather watch it on TV. And that's just the sad part. Like we've seen a couple stadiums over our own national team games where they're not even like the first bowl is full.
Yeah, SoFi a couple of months ago. But like, I already feel like the World Cup is already priced out.
Yeah, I have that feeling too, unfortunately.
I feel like the tickets are just so unreasonably priced. It's like
Yeah,
I could sit on my
but Matt,
couch.
remember, they control this though.
Oh, I know. I know,
That's the
but like
problem.
but to your point, it's like what's more important? Do you want to have fans in the seat, packed stadium, great atmosphere, or would you rather just price gouge and have half the stadium full, no atmosphere? And that's part of the beauty with soccer, right? It's so long. It's 90 minutes. It's two 45-minute halves. It's not high scoring. So part of it, what draws you into it, is the atmosphere in the stadium. Like you and me, we're Liverpool through and through. YNWA. Why do you think part of the reason we're so drawn to that club? It's the passion, the intensity, the unification of the crowd.
Oh yeah.
And what they bring from the first whistle to the last whistle, it never stops. And in soccer, you need that because you're not getting an NFL football game where you're getting a 45 to 38 score. 1-0, you could say it could be the most boring thing in the world. But if it's a fantastic game, fantastic environment, that's a show.
Oh yeah.
And don't you think these networks want that show?
No, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't think you want to pan your camera to the left and it's an empty section. I don't think they want that. I know that the next World Cup is going to be, I believe, even streamed more than any other one that we've had before. So that's gonna be huge. Um, and for this FIFA Club World Cup, it also tells us about the American audience too, because you always can read the comments sometimes when it comes to our games here in the states. When you put Jamaica in Colorado and there's nobody there, yeah, we deserve to get a little criticism and go like, wow, the U.S. does not know how to put on a tournament, and it's kind of true at times. We really don't. But also at the same time, we also don't know how to price these things the right way. When you hear it's $75 for a game at 4:30, who's gonna make that? Who's gonna make that? What were you guys thinking about that? That doesn't make sense to me. How are we supposed to get my cousin or my nephew or like even for you, you might have same thing, like even grandkids in the future. Like how are you supposed to get them engaged when you're like, dude, I can't buy a $50 ticket for like a 4-year-old kid? That just doesn't make sense to me.
And what's crazy is they have so much global branding, right? And they've got every major commercial sponsorship that you could ask for.
Mm-hmm.
So the easiest place for them to give us as a fan a break is at the gate.
Yeah, it's definitely at the gate. You make so much money. The stadium recuperates so much of that money with concessions, but you can't do it when you have a quarter full of a stadium.
No,
Sorry, you can't. So
you, you
we
got to make
know
it affordable.
all yeah, we all know that food and drink now has gone so much up in rise in almost every single stadium across this country, and you're making money hand over fist and that kind of stuff. It's enough to even for you to pay that staff, and then even then some profit.
So let me ask you real quick because you're a Red Bull supporter. You go to all the home games. I haven't been as a fan in the seats for probably 10 years, but I remember the last time I went there and was in a normal seat, I paid $16 for a Blue Moon. Like, what are the prices now for alcohol, food? Like, is it like $10 for a hot dog?
No, it's not too much for the hot dogs. They do a lot of packages. That's what Red Bulls is. They've changed over the last few years, realizing after Thierry Henry and Peggy and a lot of these bigger players, when they left, that they started noticing the attendance not being as grand, especially when we were not playing good. And that they noticed. So we did notice the beers going from 16 to 18. Some drinks now go for 19. They do a lot of packages where you buy 4 tickets. You will also get a voucher for hot dogs and drinks. They definitely made what we call like the front of the area much more kid engaged with tiny mini pitches. Um, and then inside is the experience for both families and newcomers by taking like a little mini tour around the stadium where you can see like the statues and like that we have around there and some of the trophies that we've earned, which is pretty cool, and some of the art that's around. They Red Bulls have changed it where it's much more about us and having a good experience with the money that we paid for. It's just unfortunately for the last few years, it's just the talent has not reflect that because it's Red Bull. And thankfully this year we're seeing a little bit, of course, Choupo-Moting, and he's finally getting some more goals. I feel like they need to follow that model a little bit more of the Cincinnati model, more of the Austin model, just getting us people engaged into it. So you also hear the Expo games, and then us as Red Bull fans even asked you a couple times, "Hey, we got these tickets to some of this stuff that's coming up. Would you want to go?" We love that too, where people go like, "Oh, this is Red Bull Arena. Yes, wow, this is really really nice. You come here for all the games, and next thing you know, you have people asking you they want to go to the next one and to the next one." So it's stuff like that. I feel that if they don't jump on it like that, like the Red Bull does, and make it engaging, then, dude, Matt, we're gonna miss out on a really good summer of kids who would fall in love with the beautiful game.
Yeah, I wish more and more teams would go to the model that the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta has gone to,
Love it.
where they've cut the cost on concession by like 45%. And they because they know that the less the cost is, the more people will buy. You'll be more engaged. Like if I was to go to the Red Bulls game with you right now and like it's $18 for a beer, I'm gonna have one beer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I'm gonna have one. I'll buy it on the way in, or I'll buy it as soon as I get in, and that's what I'm gonna do for the game.
And that's
You
it.
cut it down to 10, I'll buy two or three because I'm like, all right, I'll pay $10 for a beer. You know, it's just like here, like at the Jersey Shore for Memorial Day weekend. What do they do at all the bars? They triple the price of every drink.
Everything. And we know our if we do go to a World Cup, it's just not only the ticket that's going to cost you an insane amount of money. It's the travel probably to get there. That's definitely going to happen. Taxis, Ubers, everything, unless you got a public transit right next to that. And even that probably is hell. So you still might consider going, your own way. Paying for parking, we already know that's going to go crazy. MetLife, really? $30 for game day? I'm sorry. It's going to be more like 50, 60, or $70 to park, probably even during the final, just to make some extra money. You know, I, I, I just feel like if you're going to go this route, you're not really looking at the big picture about not only harming us as just the regular fans, but the future that's right underneath us, and then also future events, because some people are just not going to even bother. They're like,
They're not, and I could say this. So like, we opened the show, and I was telling you that my daughter made the NCAA tournament for women's lacrosse. They're playing in the second round. She texted me and she was like, "Dad, when you get here," she's like, "Can you go and buy me a shirt?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course. Like, first time ever, maybe the last time ever you make this thing. It's a big accomplishment, right?" I go to the tent. I go, "Yeah, I need a shirt." And they were like, "Okay, like we only have long sleeve left. No more short sleeves." I go, "Fine, whatever, I'll take it." I go, "How much is it?" $75
holy smokes.
for a cotton T-shirt that just says the NCAA College Women's Lacrosse Tournament and list every team that made the tournament.
Probably even made by like Gildan, not even like Fruit of the Loom.
Yeah, exactly. It cost $10 to make, $75.
Wow.
You know, it's that type of stuff because we're talking about concessions, right? We're not talking about the jerseys, the kits, everything else that comes along with it. So it's such big business from every other aspect. So like going back to what you were just saying is like, how can I afford to pay for my nephew, my niece, my grandkids, even my own children to go to a game where it might cost me $500 for 4 tickets to a game? Now I can't afford to do the concessions. Now I can't afford to buy the merch because that stuff is all way overpriced too. Like, I don't know about you, give me a huge discount on the tickets and I'll reinvest that in the merch, in the concessions, and all the other stuff you got going on site.
I think the real investment for you and me, Matt, is that you have a fan now for life. You have someone who's going to be coming to all your games as much as possible, spending money. I think you probably have a lot more experience on this than me, but you've probably brought younger ones to games, and it's like building kind of like a legacy. It's like now that person's going to bring somebody when they get older to these games, or they're going to share this with their friends. This is what they're missing out on. Like, to be honest with you, this is something that they're going to miss out on. It's just going to be future revenue wave after wave. It's the kind of the stories we hear about how it started in England, and how, those are legacy seats. You know how they have that, they've been passed to the generations from the families. You get that because of you shared that passion and love with the next younger generation. And for us to miss out on that, because you're most likely going to be only able to go with this with your friends, and probably like a handful. Sorry, this is definitely not going to be where you can get like 20 of your friends to do this. This is going to be really hard to do. And that's the sad part for me too, is that we're
Well,
not going to have a chance to do it like that either.
so here's a perfect example of all of this, right? I'm 49 years old. I got a 21-year-old, and my 18-year-old will be 19 in a week. They don't follow Liverpool. Forget about soccer. They live they live in an eccentric Liverpool house where every game, if I'm not at MJ's with you and I can't make it, or if I'm on a lacrosse field wherever, like I'm always following, representing. The only connection I still have in my family is my father-in-law, Henry. He's 74 years old. So it's his generation, it's me, and then my kids' generation, they don't give two shits about footy. And at least here, I started both of my kids in footy before they ever touched the lacrosse field. I don't know how much you know about lacrosse, how much you follow it, but you have games where it's 21 to 15. It's 21 to 18. There's a lot of goal scoring. And what is that generation, like my kids' generation, what do they all care about? How many goals did I get? How many assists did I get? That's what they care about, is the stats. And they could go a whole season of playing, youth travel soccer, play 12 games and maybe get one goal, one assist. And it's like, I got 2 points. I can go play lacrosse and I can put up 100 points. It's a huge difference. Like my daughter scored over 300 points in her high school lacrosse career. So like the dynamic of it is so different, and there's so many more kids. Lacrosse is the fastest growing game in the United States. Every major college campus is doing everything they can to put that program in place. And then what are the college soccer programs doing? They're going to Europe. They're going to Central America. They're going to South America. They're going to Mexico to recruit and bring those kids in and take scholarships away from the people from here. So like, UEFA, FIFA, US soccer, like they've got to come up with different ways to engage and encourage these younger generations here to want to participate in this sport. Lacrosse has the PLL, the Professional Lacrosse League. They play from June to August, 3 months a year. They all have regular jobs, but they would kill and do whatever else it has to take to play in that league for 3 months and not make any money because they just want to play the game. And to go back to what we were just talking about 5 minutes ago is, if we don't provide that opportunity and we don't provide that atmosphere, that space, those magical moments, why are kids going to want to get involved with this?
Yeah, it's sad, because it's the one thing that I also feel is that if we don't take the hype of it now, when we're also surrounded by like social media, so helps with footy like crazy. It's so awesome now. You and I can just pull up an amazing free kick that we saw, even when it is just like somebody's recording on their phone, I'll still watch it because I'm like, an amazing free kick is an amazing free kick. Not everybody can do it. That's why it's just so cool when you see it, like somebody recording it from like a pitch in the middle of the town. Like I love those. That's what we're gonna miss out on, is that the chance for a little kid to lose his mind at a game. I can't tell you how much I love it when I watch it at Red Bull Arena. Like, it's hilarious and so awesome to see a kid literally lose his mind when he sees a goal. That is what we're gonna miss out on. We're gonna miss that kid who wants to do that too, telling him and his friends when you see them, like, I can do that too. Watch me, I can totally do that. You're gonna miss out on that. You can't.
Right. And that goes to the point I'm trying to make is those magical moments in footy are so few and far between, right? Those spectacular free kicks, the unreal corners, Van Dyke lifting up 10 feet in the air to knock home a header, the bicycle kicks, the scissor kicks, all those wonderful things. They're so few and far in between that you have to give these younger generations every opportunity to seize those moments.
Yeah.
And I feel like we don't. And again, I'll go back to this past weekend with college lacrosse. And the moments that you had and the ridiculous goals, whether they're behind the back or the 100-mile-an-hour shots that are ripping twine, like kids see that, and those happen so often. And
Yeah.
you can watch highlights of any game, and there's 6 to 7 times in that game where it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I could sit here right now and watch 10 different soccer games, and that might not happen.
Yep.
So, what do you have to do to keep the eyeballs and the interest drawn on your sport? And it's different here. I get it, because we have so many other opportunities. We have so many other sports. But I'll tell you, they had the World Lacrosse Championships in San Diego 2 summers ago. Japan, Jamaica, teams from Africa, Australia, so all these other countries now, they're starting to get into some of these other sports.
Yeah.
And where soccer was the only thing they had. You're from Guatemala, right?
Yeah.
What else did you have growing up there for a
Well,
sport?
I grew up in Queens, New York, but like my mom always explains, it was always basketball in Guatemala, like basketball and soccer. It's their biggest thing out there. It's like my dad's from Puerto Rico, and the biggest thing there is baseball. So like that's their huge thing. We, as you can see, have a lot of these little portions here, and you see in New Jersey, where it's very influenced by like the different nationalities that you have there. But footy is always like the international languages. If you notice, like you could be like in Newark, there's neighborhoods that are Polish, and there's neighborhoods that are Spanish, there's neighborhoods that are Portuguese, there's neighborhoods that are Brazilian. What is the one thing that you see in these parks that's all the same? Footy. And you can see in the back of the shirt where they're from, because you can tell the club from the country that they are from, and it doesn't really matter, because a ball and a net is all that you need for this sport. This summer, if you don't capitalize and learn from it before you start putting, and I hope they learn by September before they put the tickets up. I hope that you notice that with this next generation coming up, and if you can get them, you can get these kids in it, you're going to have 2 good waves of stuff that's going to happen. You're going to have butts in the seats and foots in the cleats. Like, you're going to have that after that. And please don't lose this opportunity to do that, because the kid's going to go tell his mom, I want to go play like that. So next thing you know, the kid's going to be bothering his mom for boots or shirts, or to go play with his friends that he knows that go plays this game. Hey, Dylan, I went to go see soccer, and it was awesome. I want to go do that too. Like stuff that we're going to honestly just, it would be a really pitiful excuse if we don't see in the next 10 years after this event a new wave of amazing kids that are going to be coming up in the U programs.
And so what's interesting, and we only got a couple of minutes, but I wanted to touch on it. So, Memorial Day weekend just passed. I was at a family barbecue. I have a 9-year-old nephew up in Hazlitt. My brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, they come up to me. I'm a former board member of Twin County and Brick, coached there for a long time. And, part of the problem we still have here is the daddy ball mentality. So their son, CJ, my nephew, he's on this travel club, 9 years old, and they want to sit down and they want to talk to me. How do they oust the coach? Because the coach is dad on the team. They have a trainer that they pay, but the trainer's not allowed to go to games because the coach doesn't want him interfering with his coaching during the games. I said, well, that doesn't make any sense. If the trainer is training them in practices and they're listening to him and they're following his practice plans and they're doing what he says, shouldn't he be running the sideline on game day?
Yeah.
If this coach wants to sit there and manage and handle maybe the substitution patterns and all that stuff,
Yeah.
so be it. But and I dealt with it while I coached for all these years, and it was in both soccer and lacrosse. Too many parents that just want to get and be in control because they want to make it all about their kid.
Well, they have that logic in their head. If I paid, my kid gets to play. And you and I both know that's this country's logic for almost all sports until it starts getting to a competitive level. But for soccer, even when it gets older, even when you're hitting like you can hit rec leagues for your kids in middle school and high school, as long as you paid, your kid gets to play. It doesn't matter. And that's the hard thing some parents just, and you've seen it because you've gone to a lot of these games. It's hard to see a lot of parents take criticism about their kid.
Oh, it's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Like I remember I coached this one game, and look, when I coach, I'm there to coach. If I wanted to make a substitution, I would say to one of the assistants, "Hey, this is what I want to do. You're going to handle that sub, right? I'm going to continue to coach the game. Next opportunity, you pull the plug, make the switch." This mom came up to me as soon as the game was over and finger pointing in my face. How dare you? Did you not play my son in the second half? And we're talking U12. U12. And I always, as a coach, my number one philosophy, belief, and rule is 24 hours. You wait 24 hours after a game, after a practice as a parent to come to me, let things settle down, sort things out in your head, figure out what you want to say intelligently, and then you come to me. Because within that 24 hours, things can change. And what complicated it is she was also a very good friend of ours. And I won't say names, but I just said, now's not the time. And I said, I'm sorry if I didn't even realize he didn't get into the game. Substitutions not my thing. I'm coaching the game. I don't care about substitutions at U12. Like I feel like every kid should play. It was just an oversight by one of my assistants, and I apologized. And she was like, I'm never going to let this go. And she's like, this is really going to hurt our friend dynamic. And I was like, you have to be kidding me.
That's what they expect, though. That is what they expect. And unfortunately, you and I both know with footy, and if we want to be competitive, this World Cup is too late. It's too late. But for the next generations, I think a lot of parents are going to have to understand, and so are these academies, we got to be a little bit tougher. I'm sorry. World Cup's here. And if we get embarrassed, it's hard to climb back from that. It's hard. Look how long it take Italy to come back from them not being in it. So please, let's not miss out on this. Let's not miss out on the opportunities for future fans, future players. And then also, literally a concrete core that will be there for almost every game they can be. Just don't mess it up. This is your chance. It's in your hands. Learn, please. learn.
All right, buddy. The hour's over. Fast as always.
Yeah,
See you in a couple of weeks. Appreciate you.
definitely,
Everybody
definitely.
else, follow us on X. Follow us on Instagram. Kicking it back with Matt. Thanks for kicking it, Henry. We'll see you all later.